Johanna. Johanna.
Hi guys, I'm so excited because I get to film a video today. I haven't filmed a video in what feels like forever. It's just been a really busy time, so it's been really difficult to film, but I have a bit of time today to film something and I am taking the opportunity, even though you can probably hear someone's like whippersnipping or mowing outside and it's a bit distracting. Hopefully you can't hear that, but I just want to use this time that I have anyway. So this video I'm going to be showing you some journals that I'm putting into my Etsy shop. At the time of filming this video I haven't set a date or a time to put them into my Etsy shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this video up in advance, so before they go into my Etsy shop this video will be up, and I'll put in the description box the date and time that they'll become available. But I really just wanted to get a record of them and also show you guys what they look like because I'm super happy with how these turned out. So there's only 3 books in this restock. I wish I could do more, but I was going to do 6, but when I was looking at my time, realistically I just didn't have enough time to get 6 done. So I narrowed it down to 3, and I'm really glad that I did because it was fun to focus on just the 3. And as I said, I'm really happy and excited with how they turned out. So I decided to do a set of books that were fairy tale themed. So this is one of them. There's this one and this one. So just the 3 of them, and as you can probably tell, I've got Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, and then this one's Cinderella. So these are my usual hardcover style books. I've made them look a little bit distressed. I've done some embossing, and then they've all got some beads on the spine. So I'm gonna show you all of them, but briefly, because they're all quite similar to each other. They all have similar pages. They've got the same types of pages, so they're very similar to each other. I've tried to keep them pretty blank, but I did a few things inside that are a bit different to what I usually do, which I had a lot of fun doing. So the first thing I did that was different was I decided to use blank paper and dye it, but I didn't tea or coffee dye it. I actually used fabric dye to dye it and get this color. So this color here, this is paper that I dyed with fabric dye. So there's dyed blank sheets, there's craft paper, there's book pages from the Fairytale books that I used. There's also some pattern pages and pockets, and I've also done some sewing. So there's some decorative sewing like borders and stuff, and then there's some more purposeful sewing that's like pockets and stuff like that. It was fun to dye the pages, and there's absolutely no smell, no tea or coffee smell because I didn't use tea or coffee, and some of them turned out quite interesting, so that was fun. I think I'm going to experiment with some different colours of fabric dyes next time. But yeah, so I'll just show you like an up close of each book's cover, and then I'll just flick through the inside. So this is Hansel and Gretel. This one's probably my favourite. Even though Hansel and Gretel is such a sad story, but I love how this book turned out, and these are the charms. So there's some beads and buttons, and there's like this little, I put these little bottles and I put little fake flowers, and this one also has a key inside it, and then there's a big key up here as well. The back's just brown, and it's got the gold embossing on the spine and the gold embossing on the front. So when you use the book you just flick the charms up and then they're not in the way. When you open them up, they all have the same lining paper, and they all have a library card pocket, which I also fabric dyed. So just tucks in there. And now I just kind of flick through relatively quickly. So there's pattern paper that's double-sided, pockets with little bits and pieces tucked in. So I did some sewing again in these books. This is from the storybook. This storybook had really beautiful illustrations, really vibrant colours. So decorative stitching on some of the pages. More storybook. Pockets. So some of the pockets have little stamped frames that I stamped out and little bits of the story in them as well. More of the same kind of stuff. So I've just used vintage papers, like vintage themed scrapbook papers. Little pocket here with a little frame in there. More of the story. This is another pocket. So this is a piece of the storybook as well. And I just stitched it onto some pattern paper and then a little tag. So more of the same thing, and I've put more pages in here than I usually do as well, so it's got quite a generous amount of pages for writing or whatever. A couple more frame stamped note cards or like journal cards, and an envelope. More of the story, just some decorative sewing. Some of the sewing is not perfect, like here you can see, but I kind of like the look of that. It doesn't bother me. I don't want them to look perfectly neat. I want them to look a bit old, a little bit distressed, so it kind of works. There's a couple more little journaling cards in there. Some of the pages have little scraps of scrapbook paper just stitched along the edge for decoration. Another envelope here. This one has some wallpaper which I stitched into a pocket and put some little framed cards inside, and that just tucks back into the envelope. There's a little booklet here and some more journaling cards just tucked into the pocket. This little Hansel and Gretel from the story. This is kind of fun. I wanted to make some photo pockets. So this is a little photo pocket that I made using scrapbook paper and some acetate. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but I just put this photo in underneath the acetate to show you. You can slip a photo in here. You don't have to stick it down with anything. It won't really fall out and it's going to be protected. So that's quite a fun little thing I've been doing. So just stitch some acetate to the scrapbook paper and then you can journal on the back and it just keeps your photo safe in the pocket. More of the beautiful illustrations from the storybook. More stitching. There's a little paper bag here that I also fabric dyed, and I just put a couple of extra little stamped tags in there. So you can use those for journaling or like putting dates on and sticking onto your pages or whatever you want really. You can move them around the book, so you can use them to decorate it if you want to. It's another envelope with some more little bits and pieces, like a little booklet. More book pages, beautiful illustrations, and getting towards the back, this is one of my favourite parts of each book. Each book, in the back, towards the back, there is a little paper bag pocket, and I put a little set of paper dolls for each fairy tale. So this is obviously Hansel and Gretel. So there's the big old evil lady witch. She goes in the back pocket, and then there's like all these little bits. So there's like clothes. There's even got like tiny little clog shoes. Is that what they're called? Clogs? The little wooden shoes. And like the old lady's cat. and just other little bits and pieces from the paper doll set. So they just tuck into these pockets. I just thought that was kind of cute. You could use these as well to decorate the pages if you wanted to, use them as like little die cuts, or you could just keep them in the pockets because they're quite cute like that as well. So there is Hansel and Gretel as the back. This one's probably my favourite. I would love to keep this, but I know that realistically I have so many books and I've already made myself a new personal journal, so I should not keep this, even though I want to. We've got Little Red Riding Hood. So this is just a little up close look at the cover. Same kind of thing. And then charms here. So lots of red for Little Red Riding Hood, buttons and little charms and beads. And then another little glass bottle with a flower inside. And then again, same thing when you open it up. They're very, very similar inside. The thing that differs is some of the patterns differ from the pattern scrapbook papers that I used. And the actual storybook pages, of course, are different. So here's another photo pocket. This one's stuck to the page. And yeah, you just slip a photo in here. Or it doesn't have to be a photo. You can put anything in here, but just to keep it safe, it's not really going to go anywhere. Then I've got dyed pages, craft pages with stitching, some book pages, again really sweet book pages. With the leftover book pages, I just stitched them onto some scrapbook paper, make little tags and journal cards, and little stamped frames. Some of that decorative scrap paper stitched to the page, more stitching, more envelopes. This one's got another stamped frame, and then this is just a piece of the storybook that I've messily stitched to some paper. It goes in there, and more of the same stuff. So pages from the storybook, some really fun stitching for borders here with the dyed pages. So the pages turned out pretty similar to tea dyeing. The colours may be a little bit different, but for the most part it's quite similar. And there's no smell at all, which is quite good if you don't like the smell of tea or coffee. So double-sided papers, stitching, another envelope here, a little frame, and a little pocket in there. Just goes in the envelope. So there's plenty of room to write or put photos. They're quite full already. I did put more pages than what I usually do, so they are quite filled out. If you wanted to use this for writing, it would be perfect because there's lots of blank pages and maybe not as much room for growing as some of the other books I've done in the past because it's just a little bit more chunky. But you could put extra things in here as well if you wanted to. So this is a little booklet where I just stitched a bit of the story on, and then another wallpaper pocket with some frames. So they just go in there, and more of the same stuff. So try not to take too long to flick through, but just so you get an idea of what's in each one. This is quite a big pocket here. I haven't actually put anything in here because I didn't want it to get lost, but you could put like a big tag or something in there. When you mix up the fabric dye, this was the first time I did it, so it was an experiment. It comes with like these little, they're not crystals, it kind of reminds me of jelly crystals, but you just put it with hot water and like mix it up. And so I didn't realize, but some of the little pieces of colour kind of would smudge or blend on some of the pages, and you'd get like random colours like reds and blues, which I kind of think looks cool, but I think that was just because I hadn't mixed it through well enough, but yeah, I kind of like the variation that it's given. And then toward the back again, we have another bit of a dyed paper bag. This one's again got a bunch of little tags and booklets and bits of the story, little journal cards and little bits and pieces that I've stamped for you to use. And then at the very back here somewhere, there's another little journal card there. And then in the back there is again the set of paper dolls. So for all of them they've got like a smaller pocket for the smaller sized paper dolls, because they all had some smaller dolls. I didn't want to get lost in the pocket. And then there's like a larger one in the back pocket. So super cute images of the wolf. And there's a couple of Little Red Riding Hood and her mum and the woodsman saving her from the wolf. So they go back into the pocket. Again, I just thought they were so cute. You could stick these on the page and they would make cute little pockets or little decorations, little die cuts, or you could just keep them in the pockets if you want to keep them in the back together. And there's the back. So that is Little Red Riding Hood. And then the last one is Cinderella. So this one's a little bit lighter than the other ones, and instead of gold it's got like a copper details. And this is the back of it. So just show you up close again. And the beads that this one have, I'm really happy with the combination of beads on this book. I think they're so pretty. So they're like a key, a little glass bottle, some beads, some buttons, just really pretty colours. So there's that one. And then again, when we go inside, it's very, very similar. Oh, this is another image that I just need to seal up. This is what I use to seal up my digital images. So Distress Glaze. I don't really use digital images that often, though I have been since I've been using the digital linens. This just puts like a protective layer on it. You like put it on the image and then you buff it off, and that just protects the image so it won't bleed if it gets wet. So that's called Micro Distress Glaze, I think, by Tim Holtz, just in case you're wondering. So I've just got this in the front so I remember to put that on that image. But again, I've got a library card pocket in the front, image of Cinderella that will go into one of the pockets later, and some journal cards. Again, all the same stuff, so try not to take too long flicking through. That's just an acetate pocket for your photos. This is another paper bag pocket with little goodies inside tucked in there. Pages from the storybook, craft paper, dyed paper, some decorative stitching, more pockets. So this is from the storybook as well, and a couple of other journaling cards tucked in there. Another little pocket here that I've stitched. It's got a booklet and a stamped frame, like a little journaling card or a label. Dyed papers, more pockets, more booklets and tags and stitching. So more of the same stuff. This is a nice big image from the book that I just stitched onto some scrapbook paper. That tucks into the envelope. More decorative stitching, more envelopes. This one's got a wallpaper pocket again and some little stamped frames. They've all got the same amount of stamped frames and everything as well, so they're very even in how I've made them. So there's more in there. more stitchy borders, more scrappy paper decorations for the pages. This is a pocket. Oh, it's a pocket there, I guess, but I think it's actually supposed to be a pocket like this. So you could put a big tag or a big photo in there and then something smaller in there. More dyed papers, more scrapbook papers, book papers, craft paper, and then in the back more paper dolls. So this one's got a nice big image here in the back, and then a bunch of smaller little paper dolls, so like the fairy godmother and the stepsisters and a couple of Cinderella. So those are quite cute as well, and again just makes really cute little page decorations. So they tuck in to the pockets, and there is the back. Those are the 3 books that are going to Etsy. I wish I could do more than 3. I know that that's not very many at all, but I just kind of have to like putt away at creating at the moment and just do what I can do, even if it's not much. Otherwise I kind of just would have to stop altogether. So I'm very, very slow and I'm very, very sorry, but I'm just putting away. So as I said, if you are interested in any of these books, I will put in the description box below the time and day that I'm going to put them into Etsy, and I'll link my Etsy shop below. And yeah, just let me know in the comments which one was your favourite and why. I had so much fun doing fairy tales. I wish I could have done more, as I said. Maybe I will do more in the future, like Jack and the Beanstalk and Snow White and some other ones, because it was just so much fun. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're all doing really, really well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!